Hey, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining me on this Monday. I'm hoping you're having a good day so far. And we are going to be talking all about how to organize your small group today. So this has been kind of a fun thing for me to talk about because I really like getting organized. So if you will, drop in the comments whether you love or loathe organization. So drop in the comments whether you love or just absolutely loathe organization. And that could be organization in your classroom, in your house, things like that. So I found that I've actually liked to organize in my classroom way more than I like to organize in my house, which I'm really not sure why, but it is what it is. And so today is all about organization. And if you missed any of the small group mini series from last week, check out those videos on the videos tab on the Lovely Commotion Facebook page, because there's some pretty good stuff in there too, and I hope it can be helpful for you when you're doing your small groups. We got somebody, Janet loves organization. Awesome. Well, I'm hoping this will help you a little bit in getting yourself ready, maybe even for next year. Some of this we can do now, which is awesome. Okay, so just to go ahead and get started, we are going to break up this whole organizational thing into 3 categories. First being organizing our small group activities. Then we're going to work on organizing our record keeping, like how we're keeping data and things like that. And then the third bucket's going to be materials, how to keep like all those materials close to you so that you can have them when you need them. Jennifer says, love it, but I'm not great at making it happen. Yeah, sometimes I'm not either. And I really kick myself later because it works better for me when everything is organized, especially when you have a co-teacher. That's really important as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on organizing activities. Now, the first thing that I wanted to make sure I had in place were some activities that I knew that I just most likely would be doing. Again, I can't predict the future. I don't know what my next year students are going to need from me in small group, but I can have some activities ready that are general things that I've seen in the past that my students need help with, skill-based things. So here are some of mine. Here, I'm going to show you a picture that I took of my cabinet. This is inside my cabinet. And so I have notebooks full of different skills that I usually have small groups on. And I've got them already ready to go, and they're packed full of activities. So as you can kind of see on there, I do counting. I have a patterning one, sorting, shapes, numeral ID, number sense, colors, and then this isn't all of them. I also have name recognition, name writing, and letter identification. So that's kind of like what my cabinet looks like, and I love it because once I figure out what my students need, I can just pull down that notebook and it already has activities in it. So I wanted to show you, I've popped in and showed you a little bit of the notebook on day 3, but wanted to dive in a little bit more. So this one is my colors one, and so it has it on I'm not very good at this yet. I'm sorry, guys. There's a glare. It has it on the edge as well, so I can see it when it's in my cabinet. And then this was just the front of the cover that I had made for this product. So I went ahead and just put that on there. But inside, and this was really helpful for my co-teacher and when I had substitutes, because they still could do all this because the directions were right there, and I didn't have to like write out specifically what you had to do because I already had done it in here, which was amazing. So like for colors right here, it has the lesson plan in there. And so it says it's the magnet sort, and the goal is to identify and match colors, and the materials that you need are there. And then there's even a picture to show them what they should be doing. And then down below is the how to play. And so that was already in there. So if I wanted my sub, or if my co-teacher wanted to come here and grab an activity, which she did, she'd know what to do, and it was easy peasy, already ready for me. And I have 10 of these in each area, if that makes sense. And so behind it, I have the sorting cards. So like we were basically sorting the magnetic letters by color, because this is my colors one. And so I already have these behind here ready to go. I don't have to go find them. They're all right here. Also, like this one is identifying and naming colors, and it's using a feed me. And I already have like the base of the feed me, like the little box, in my small group cart, which we're going to talk about. And then he was in here inside my notebook as well. So I can just pull him off, stick him on the feed me, and we're ready to go. So I like having everything behind here. Also, here are the feed me cards. So like what they're going to feed the monster is inside this manila folder. And so I just put them on. I just hole punch them. And as you can see, here are the feed me cards. And so there's instructions, there's the game pieces, everything's already like right there, ready to go. And this is something that you could have done. Like I did this in a summer because I didn't want to have to do it during the year. I'm very much if I can plan it, which obviously I can't plan everything, but if I can kind of prepare for that in the summer, I like to, because the school year just gets crazy with having my own kiddos at home, and then just trying to do everything at school to make it the best year possible. So again, like here's another one where I just kept them in here. This one is matching. They're just matching an object to a color. And those cards, again, are right in this manila folder. So, and then this one is they use a spatula. I want to bring some fine motor in. And so they're spatuling, that's not a word, onto the paper plate. So I actually have the paper plate in the front pocket here, and I keep spatulas and other fine motor tools close by in my cart, which we will talk about soon. So that's kind of, and then like these color bingos, I already have them done. All I got to do is open the notebook, take them out, and we'll get some markers, some bingo markers like erasers or things like that. So I like to have these done so that I can just go through and go, okay, this is what we're doing today. And I already have it done, and my materials are here, and I don't have to prep it the night before or whatnot. So that has been super helpful. So this was like the colors one. And then I also got myself, I brought this one back home from school too, letter identification, but the same sort of thing goes in here. Like if it's got extra pieces like these, we were building a road, letter roads to drive our cars on. I've got those already in there. I could keep them somewhere else, but I've just found that it's helpful just to have them right here, or I could have put them in a little pocket. But all these things are here, and I already go ahead and put, like these are the Play-Doh mats. I go ahead and have some of these mats and some of my bingo boards either laminated or put into these pocket sleeves. So Jennifer had a question, what age are you focusing on? I'm focusing on 4-5s with this small group. Obviously, depending on your kiddos and where they are, colors and counting might be appropriate for the 3-year-olds in your group. So, but yeah, these I created basically for my 4-5 group for me to use. And then I just like to share them with anybody else who can use them. So these are kind of how I organize my actual activities. But you could, notebooks work. You could also use like a file box if you have a box full of color activities, even if some of them are commercially made, and put them all in there, and you could just pull that out when you're ready to do a specific skill. Tubs, things like that. We don't have a ton of storage, so I found that notebooks was really the best solution for me. And again, my co-teacher really thought this was super helpful, so it must have worked well for her too, so I thought I would share that with you. So that is how I basically organize them by skill, ready to go for the school year, for when after assessments I can see what groups I can create and what children are in those groups, and then I can just yank this off the shelf, choose the activity that we're doing. And then that brings me into the lesson plan too. And I've showed you this before. I usually have my lesson plan ready to go. And with setting up my activities ahead of time, I can go ahead and just put down very quickly the skill, and then down here, activity number 1, I can just put like something from here. Maybe it's bingo dotting the letters, right? We're going to pull a letter from the magnet letters and bingo dot that on the page. So bingo dot letters, maybe I'll put that on activity 1. And the materials needed, I can write what materials I need that are outside of what I already keep close to me. And we'll talk about that too. So that's just kind of, it just has made it so much easier just to really grab that off the shelf and use it. It's a lot lower prep. You're already planning quite a bit. And so taking the small group off of your plate, possibly, depending on what skills they're needing, is very helpful. So that is an organizational tip for activities themselves. So now I want to talk about records, like how I organize the records and who's in what group, and where are they? What observations have I seen? So like this is my counting. This is my counting folder. And so in this folder, I have the students that are working on counting right now. And I have some observation logs. So I'll give you, I had already thrown away and gotten rid of this year's student tags. So I just made you some so that you could see these are my pups. So Macy and Gabby are in this group, the counting group, and they are working on counting. And so I can put who's in this group, and then if you wanted to put Velcro behind them, you could take them off, move them to another group when they need when they're ready to move on. So that's kind of helpful too, that you can kind of just put their name and their picture in there. And I actually have this printable and this printable for free in my small group planning kit, which I linked in this post, so you can grab that too. But I like to just open this up. I already know that it's my counting group. I can quickly put in, which obviously I don't need to put the skill if I've already put it in here. You would use the skill if you were just wanted to do them all at once and didn't want to have the folder system. But anyhow, and then my activity, my students, and then I can just do quick observations right here. And so then I can staple multiples in here, and we can kind of go through, and I can go back and see like, oh, how were they last week? Were they, I can compare notes based on my students. And then when they are ready to move on to another group, I like to go ahead and reassess them on that skill and update their assessment so that it's most up to date, and I kind of am on the same page. Because if you have quite a few students, that can get really confusing. Like, okay, they moved out of this group, but my assessment still shows they don't know it, and things like that. So I like to, when I try to get in the habit of taking them out of a group and moving them to a new one, that I assess whichever group I'm taking them out of, if that makes sense. So that is how I kind of keep track of my records, and I just keep them all in here so I can kind of see the progress throughout the year. And you could always staple new on or whatnot, but you can also which I haven't done and I need to do, is laminate these ahead of time, and that will make them a little more durable for you when you're using those. So that's an idea for record keeping. And the last tip is about materials. So obviously small group takes a lot of materials, hands-on materials. We want them to be like right there, ready, engaged. And so I like to have things available for me quickly. We know that children don't like to wait too long for you to find your stuff, right? And I've also found that I will forget things that I actually have to leave the room to get, and that doesn't work well because obviously I need to be in there. And so I tried really hard, especially this past year, to make sure I had the materials that I needed on hand close to me. So one way I did that, and I didn't get a picture of this, but I have one of those colorful carts with all the, the drawers are different colors. And I went ahead and just put everything I could think of in there, like craft sticks, pom-poms, Q-tips, ribbon. I mean, just lots of stuff. Our preschool keeps all of that in like one central room for all of us to use. And so I just took a little bit of that and put it in my room so that when I did need it, it was right there and I didn't have to have someone watch my class while I was going and getting the materials. And so that has been very helpful because I have found that even if I plan ahead really well, I just forget to pick those things up in the morning or whenever that is. So that's one little thing I do. But for my small group, I do have a cart, and this cart, here's a picture of it. It's just one of those metal rolly carts I think I got from Sam's Club. And I put this little tiny easel on it. It's not tiny, but it's a small easel that I got from Target last year in their Bullseye's playground or whatever they call that now. And that fit perfectly in there. The other side of it is chalkboard. And so I've got dry erase markers and chalk and erasers in there ready. So if we're working on names, they can use that. If I need to show them how to form a number, things like that, we use it a lot for just multiple different things, and so that's super helpful. And then it has 3 drawers too, and it also has these cool sides here. I got a better picture for you. These sides are magnetic, and so these little round guys that hold dice are stuck to the side of it. I can also pull off this thing of markers and scissors and glue, so it's super helpful just to kind of have everything right there, especially the dice. And these little green things in the other tub are like cover up, we'd use them for bingo, cover the space, things like that. And so I love it because I can just roll it to right next to me and I can have everything right there. And here's another couple pictures of what's inside. So this is one of the drawers, and there's obviously pencils. I use the erasers. There's some of my, you can kind of see in this blue tub, there's some of my homemade dice that go to specific games that are in my small group. But I also have other things in there, like over here, I don't know if you can see it in the purple tub, I've got some spinners, just regular color spinners, number spinners, things like that. And then I've got cards. And then in this blue tub, you can't see it very well, but I've also got some number and letters that are foam. You could also use magnetic letters, put those in there. And then on the bottom shelf, and I have room to grow, which is awesome. I just haven't necessarily needed to grow. But on the bottom, I have my eraser collection, which, thank you, Target, has kind of exploded. But they absolutely adore these. We use these all the time. We use them to cover up bingo spaces. Again, we use them as movers on games. We use them to pattern, to sort, all kinds of stuff. And for some reason, these little, as you probably know, if you have erasers and use them, they just love these little tiny things and picking out their own. So we use those a lot. So that's on my cart as well. And then it's worth noting that I also have a math manipulatives cart that I keep right next to my table where I do small group too. So I can pull counting bears. I can pull, what else is in there? Oh, just like little counters that we would pattern and do things with. Pattern blocks. There's all kinds of math manipulatives in there too that's right there. So that's why they're not necessarily in this cart. But this cart has been helpful because I can keep everything right there, and I can keep like my who's in my group and what we're doing that week right there in the cart. I can keep my lesson plans right there. So that's been super, super helpful. So when you're thinking about things that you want to keep close to you, I've come up with just kind of like a little list, because this is what I found comes up for me all the time that I'm needing are definitely dice. Even I have the dice cubes too. I had put them away because they were being thrown. But another thing that I try to do is make sure my students know that those are learning materials that we use to learn together, and they're not just free play materials, right? Even though they're on a cart, they're not necessarily for you. And if you keep having that problem, maybe like putting a sheet over it, something like that. But so I had put them away, but you know those dice with the pockets where you can kind of add your own game pieces or cards to them. So those are super helpful. Regular dice, soft dice, big dice, all kinds of things like that. Scissors, glue, in case you were to need those. Crayons, markers, if you guys use markers. The erasers are fun. Play-Doh, dot paints. I actually have those in pull-out drawers. I just pull out the drawer and walk over to the table. But those are some things you might need. Letters, numerals, like maybe magnetic ones or foam ones. Any of the feed me boxes, like the little guys where you feed them. Here, let me show you a picture. Where you feed them, like this guy's eating letters, certain letters, and there's an activity to go along with it. Like you call out the letter that they want to eat or the sound that they want to eat. And then I also like to have spatulas and fine motor pinching materials there in case we can just add that to it, because that just adds one more practice skill that we're working on. Okay, Jennifer had another question. Do the activities in your binders start easy and get progressively more challenging? Let me take a look. It kind of depends. Like, yes, there are definitely some. So like here, let me show you in this one. Hold on just a second. So we're going from, like, this one is later in the year. This is Letter Thief. And so you put all the letters on the magnetic cookie sheet and you take one away and they see if they can figure out which one is missing. That is obviously going to be later in your year. So I've got it later in my notebook. But something as simple as just getting exposure to letters, like matching them, like in this, whoop, I'm losing my stuff. Like in this one where they are basically getting a letter card and matching it and covering it with a pom-pom, or you could use an eraser. That's going to be easier. So yeah, I definitely start with like more matching skills, especially with letters and numbers and even their names and even colors. Like start with matching and then move to more progressive skills, like can we put these letters in order? Can we figure out which one's missing? So yes, they definitely do, Jennifer, because yeah, they need to, right? Yeah, totally. So let me know if there's any other questions. Oh, here's one from Tara. Are you doing anything different for next year with small group time? Well, I'm not sure if you're referring to COVID, Tara. If you are, let me know, but we don't even know what our year looks like if that's what you're referring to. So I honestly don't know. I like to have things ready just in case. And so I like having these small group things ready and done. I know one thing I will be doing is laminating my folders. That's just something I didn't get to. My laminator at home can't fit a folder. So I have to do it at school. And so just got to go warm it up, come back, things like that. But, as far as anything different, yeah, sadly, yes. Yeah. COVID. I just don't know. We don't even know what our school district's doing, which is kind of how we base our part-time program. And so really, I'm really not sure. But if it comes to the point where, we need to do one-on-one more often, then that's what I guess I'll do. And I'll just pull from these activities the best that I can. I know that it's different in every state right now. In our state, we just I think our childcare centers at least are being asked to keep the same students in the room and limit it to that same amount of teachers with that teacher and staying in the room, or not cohabitating or whatnot with other classes. So that's, I guess that's where we'll just kind of have to see. But again, I really like to be prepared, and especially this year because we have no idea what's coming at us, which really stinks. And, obviously with some of the small group materials, I'm going to be wiping them down afterwards more often than I had been before. for sure. Tammy's asking, is the binder for sale? I have for sale, it's a digital product, so you would have to prepare the binder yourself, cutting anything that needs to be cut or putting together anything that needs to be put together. But I do have a link for those in the description of this post. So if you want to check them out, they've become very helpful for me because now it's done and I don't have to worry about next year's small group because I can pull activities from this if they are a skill that they need. So I don't actually, like, you won't get a physical binder, if that makes sense. Because obviously that's costs quite a bit more to put together the actual binder and the lamination and anything you use to organize it. But I do have the materials, all the printable materials that you saw in here for the binder. So I hope that answers your question. Jennifer is asking, do you use curriculum at your school? If so, when and how are you doing both small group games and your curriculum? So I am super blessed that we do not use a specific curriculum. We're very much eclectic in the play-based learning. We just plan what our kids need, and we do it as best we can through play and through engaging activities. So I don't have that issue. Actually, me doing small groups is kind of part of our curriculum. And so I'm really not sure how to answer that or if I can even help you. But we definitely come up with our own lesson plans, and it's all based around what our students need, where they are right then, and not necessarily a curriculum down the road. I've made myself some things that you can find in my store. I've made myself some play-based preschool lesson plans, and also 2-3 because of when I taught 2-3s. Or I'm sorry, 3-4s. Sorry, 3-4s. Now I teach 4-5s. I had made myself some lesson plans that are available on Teachers Pay Teachers. If you want to look at those, they're very, again, try to be very play-based, and then I go through those lesson plans throughout the year and just choose what is going to work for us at that time, and that's kind of how I work it. So I'm sorry I couldn't be more help for that. Yes, it is so great. It is so great to be able to really just teach, because I've been in situations before where there's a lot of curriculum, a lot of here's what you do, here's how you do it, here's a training, you got to do it exactly this way, and it's a hard way to teach, and so I'm very blessed on being able to come up with our own activities based on what my specific students need. So if there aren't any other questions, I want to thank you for coming, and I hope you maybe got some tips and ideas and maybe some inspiration on getting your small groups set for next year, whatever next year will look like. I am going to be back on next Monday, and I'm going to be talking about jobs. I've gotten a question a lot about how I can possibly implement jobs for every one of my students, and I love it. It's amazing. It's a great classroom community. I love them all having a specific job. So next Monday I'm going to be talking about jobs for every student, even up to like 20, and so what those look like and what I do. So thanks again for joining me, and I will see you next Monday. Bye-bye.